What's that?
Welcome back, everyone, to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BETSPERTS. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christenson, and joining me, as always, I guess it's a blue shirt Brown Bag Bets day today, Andy. But more importantly, it's Friday, and not just any Friday, it's a Fallica Friday. Here to join us to talk all things college football, Mr. Chris Fallica. And I guess more importantly to start, have you seen Dune yet?
I have not. I have not. I mean, I saw the original one way back when. I have not seen the 2021 remake.
It's pretty cool. Andy, have you seen it yet? Have you had time to watch it? I know that you have things going on.
I'm going to see if the wife wants to go to the movies tonight. I could use a nice movie day. There's a few films out I want to see, so I'm going to probably do that and then hunker down for the rest of the weekend and watch football, even though, boy, it's just another – I feel like we're doing this too much. Like maybe we're just spoiled in the year 2021 by how much sports is on. We've complained about, 6 out of the 8 weeks as far as this isn't a very good week in college. This is a bad slate again. There's still games. There's still games to be bet on. There's still good matchups. Chris is out in Pasadena?
I am. Yep. UCLA, Oregon. Yeah, I actually got to take in the Braves-Dodgers game last night. Went over there for a good God bless those fans, by the way. Like it took like an hour to go 9 miles. So I mean, they take a lot of crap for leaving early and showing up late, but what an unbelievably awful traffic situation out here. It's just terrible. Yeah, I got to do the movie date with my wife too. She needs to go see that the James Bond movie. She wants to go see that. So we got to take care of that at some point this week. Yeah.
I did miss the cinema quite a bit last year, and yeah, God bless anybody going through that traffic. I know some people that live out there that actually work different hours based on, like, if I went to work at 8 a.m., it would be an hour and a half to get to work, so I got to work at 11 a.m. because it's 20 minutes, because that's how long it should take. It's like, that's just nuts. But, yeah, it's probably nicer out there. I woke up to frost this morning. I had to go outside and warm my car up for a little while. It is wintertime in Minnesota, actually, so we're getting a little closer to snow here, so it's probably nicer out in California. And we're going to start. This one's in probably nice weather place too. This is in Miami, correct?
Mm-hmm.
NC State's going down to Miami today. A Brinson game for me.
Yeah, it is, and I really didn't expect to be backing my alma mater at any point this year because their season has kind of gone south in a hurry, and NC State beat me last week with Boston College. But I do think it is a good spot to play Miami. While their defense has not been great the last couple of games at all, the fact that Tyler Van Dyke has come on for De'Ara King, the offense is scoring points and moving the ball is good. And most importantly, they fell behind big against Virginia. They fell behind big against North Carolina, and they didn't quit. They had a chance to win either game, send either game to overtime, and they nearly came close. So I think the fact coming home, it's probably a little bit of a contrarian play, I would think as well, but I think it is a good spot to take Miami and the field goal and potentially even on the money line.
Yeah, I like that. It could be one of those things where, again, we're just so far down on Miami, there has to be value at some point, right? Going to the other side of the country, we've got Utah, Oregon State. This one pretty closely aligned game, and I think if I'm correct, the ranked team, the underdog here. We've got Utah laying 3 points at home. What do you think of this one, Bear?
Yeah, I just wonder emotionally with everything that Utah has gone through the last month with the tragedy. A couple of weeks ago, you go to USC and you beat USC. Last week, you have the big emotional comeback win against Arizona State. Now you have to go on the road again to Oregon State, who cost themselves game day by losing to Washington State a couple of weeks ago. They had a week off. I don't like the spot here at all for Utah. Oregon State's offense is pretty good, and I think as a home underdog, getting 3 points, again, just like Miami, I'm going to take Oregon State plus the 3, and I'm going to take the Beavers on the money line.
Hey, sorry, I got confused there. That one is at Oregon State.
Yeah.
What'd you have, Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like how he's able, because you hear people have these conversations. Like, this is such a water cooler conversation. Like, they lost hosting game day by losing this game. Like, people will say that, but like Chris can actually say that and he's actually saying it with like that actually happened. So, and that's funny how that works out with these teams like this. Like, you're trending one way, and then all of a sudden you hit that hard road bump.
And I wish one of the things I would have tracked over my tenure here on the show is like teams that lost game day because they lost the week before we were going to go, and then how they did in that game, I bet you it's probably like a 90% win rate where the game that we were going to go still winds up being this big red letter date, and they have a big win for the program. So it's one of my, I guess I have to put that on the list of regrets. But by the way, do you have a remote starter there in Minnesota, or do you have to actually go out to the car and start her up in defrost? No, you're talking about going out to the.
I'm looking for a new truck. My car, I actually have to go out still. The moment my wife gets a new vehicle, if it doesn't have one, I go get one installed. Otherwise, I'll never hear the end of it. Even though she gets the best spot in the garage, but my car, I actually have to walk out there like in the olden days. At least it starts up nice. It's not like when I was young and I had clunkers and you had to sit there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's we haven't gotten too cold yet. It was still in the upper 30s this morning.
Best spot
I do like that
for your wife. It sounds like my household as well.
I do like that sort of pre and post game day angle, Chris. That's kind of interesting. That could be a look ahead spot that maybe people don't think about. All right, we got game day next week, folks. They're not maybe thinking about the week beforehand. I like that. What do you think, Andy? It's all about angles, right?
Yeah, no, that's interesting, especially with the teams that like clearly everybody's thinking it like, oh, this is kind of where this is going to be a marquee matchup. This happens a ton. I feel like oh, you have this marquee matchup coming up in 2 weeks, and all these two teams need to do is win, and they end up losing outright as like a touchdown or better favorite sometimes. I mean, which happens constantly in college football and pros too. But I mean, the fact that it happens all the time to these teams that they're trending towards, this could be a conference championship playing team or something like that. I mean, just go look at Iowa. And that wasn't that big of a what was the Iowa Purdue? That was about 10,
12, 11.
12,
yeah, I think it
like
ended
that.
up at 12. Like, I just never had a shot in that game. I mean, just every year you're gonna have stuff like this. It's amazing between us here and you down just with the game day early in the season, how much we've talked about Iowa teams this year already. And that is, again, that's our next one on the docket here. Iowa State,
Another one.
Oklahoma State. Iowa State, very vaunted early in the season. Didn't look great in their opener, and then obviously had the Iowa game and then stumbled a little further. The schedule wasn't so tough there, but this is an interesting line, especially for people who don't pay attention. Look at the AP rankings and look at this and wonder if this line's flip-flopped, but it is up in Ames. Oklahoma State, maybe some people possibly questioning some schedules at points, but yeah, Iowa State laying 7 here. Is everybody just going to run and take this Oklahoma State number on Saturday?
It's funny you're talking about Iowa. It's kind of like our podcast version of waiting for Guffman. Without Blaine, there's no Missouri, and where are we without? So, I have to lay the points. It's Iowa State here or pass for me. The AP poll is a terrible indicator of team strength. Like if you look at the Football Power Index, Iowa State is still a top 10 team, and Oklahoma State ranks right around 30th. And I think, like if you look at Oklahoma State, how long can they continue winning games the way they are? They get a pick 6, which turned the game around last week in Austin. You shut 2 teams out in the second half, and you don't score yourself. The only team in the Big 12 which has scored fewer points than Oklahoma State is Kansas. So that's like how bad this Oklahoma State offense has been this year. And I think in a sense, you talked about the early season stuff with Iowa State. Like you don't want to say losing games are a blessing, but because of those games, because of those losses to Iowa and Baylor, they've kind of been put on the back burner. And the last couple of weeks, I know it's just been Kansas State, and I know it's just been Kansas, but Breece Hall has been running the ball as well as he ever has. They've gotten Charlie Kohler more involved in the offense. He's been much more of a mismatch. So I think at home, with what Oklahoma State has done to them the last couple of years as well. 2 years ago in Ames, Purdy had that big fourth quarter meltdown with the turnovers. Last year they went to Oklahoma State and the Cowboys hung a Big 12 loss on them. I think it's a really perfect confluence of angles and situations, and I do like Iowa State here tomorrow, laying the 7.
Yeah, it's
It's
a big
wild
number,
how
but
little
can't
we
be
talk
afraid of
about
that.
those guys. Yeah, the Purdy and Breece Hall, like how much those guys got talked about preseason, and all it takes is just one early slip up, and the team just falls into the afterthoughts of the Big 12, which is, I guess, an afterthought of a conference that sometimes
And they're right in
when
it.
Oklahoma gets hot.
And still they have as good a shot as anyone to get to the Big 12 title game. And it's them, Oklahoma State, and Baylor all fighting for that second spot to play OU.
Yeah, just to help Andy out on this one here. There's still no divisions down there. It's just top 2 teams, right?
Top 2 teams, yeah. One, and that's the way I like it. I mean, people kind of the Big 12 is
well, look
a
at the
punching
Big
bag
10.
and all. Yeah, punching bag and all that. Say the Big 10. The Big 10 could have realistically an undefeated. I'm just going to say undefeated because Michigan's undefeated right now. You could have an undefeated Michigan against an 8-4 Purdue team in the Big 10 championship game. It was what you can wind up having because it's not automatic that Purdue that Iowa gets the Big 10 championship game. That Purdue win really changed a whole lot.
And as somebody who lives in a state who has a Big 10 West team in it, I guess I'd feel kind of bad saying this, but yeah, like there's oftentimes a team from the Big 10 West shouldn't be in the championship game. You should see a couple of the teams out of the East, like basically Ohio State, the next best team out there. So I do kind of agree with that. I think it should just be the top 2 teams rather than divisions.
And you're helping your conference, by the way. You're guaranteeing yourself that you're going to have 2. Like what would have happened last year if Northwestern somehow pulled a massive upset in that Big 10 championship game over Ohio State? It would have been like you have a 7-5 team in the college football. That's ridiculous. So while the Big 12 deserves a lot of the criticism that they get, that's one where they actually have it handled right. We're getting ambushed in here, by the way, by Herb Street and Corso, in case you couldn't tell.
That's always fun to see who's walking behind you.
That is why we're doing this a little early today. Chris has meetings. There's a lot of prep work that goes into tomorrow. A lot more than me just sitting on my couch, also probably winterizing the lawnmower. Big day for me, watching some football, getting some things.
What is winterizing the lawnmower?
You got to put a little fuel stabilizer in there. You unhook the battery, just kind of wash it up, and then cover it up. We're done mowing the lawn for the
All right.
I don't have to deal with that. A honey-do list always comes before college football for me. So I'm going to try to get stuff done nice and early. Service academies. We're getting close to my favorite weekend of the college football season is the one where we just have the Army-Navy game, because I traditionally go to a certain bar and watch that and bet way too much on an Army-Navy game. But Army taking on Wake Forest this weekend. It looks like they're hosting it as a home dog here. This is a nice size total for an Army game.
Yeah, it is, just because I think of Wake Forest offense. Yeah, you actually have all 3 service academies are hosting teams that are 6-0, which is pretty amazing. That's never happened on the same week before. But I like Army in this game. If you look at the Power 5 teams they have played in recent years, they have all been close one-score games, and I expect that to be the case here. Wake Forest has given up a ton of rushing yards the last couple of weeks to Louisville, to Syracuse, and while you know that Army is going to run the ball and you don't have to worry about passing it, I just think it's a bad matchup for Wake Forest. I think they are one of those undefeated teams that went on the road that's in trouble. It's funny because you do have, while they don't fit the criteria of ranked team, which is an underdog on the road, you do have 4 ranked teams this week that are underdogs to unranked teams, and we'll see what ultimately plays out there.
Yeah, I guess we'll kind of find out how good Wake Forest is. They're one of those where I probably just haven't watched them all year, and then I look, I'm like, oh, this team hasn't lost. Like,
They probably
same
should
thing with San Diego State. I'm not sure if
Air Force, don't you have to like Air Force there too? I don't. San Diego State has that quarterback change going on. Like Air Force is why it's 6-1. And I don't think it'll be too quiet after that. I thought about maybe putting Air Force on the board tomorrow as well. Defensively, I think they've allowed more than 17 points once this year, and it's a San Diego State team that doesn't like to score. So Air Force is definitely in play this weekend.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that one. They're only laying 3, so I might add that one too.
Yeah. Tough place to play too up there in Colorado Springs. I believe that is probably at altitude, at least a decent altitude difference from where San Diego sits, which is pretty close to sea level if I had to take a big swing at it. So, all right, well, I'll be getting ready for it tomorrow. I don't have any action really outside of a little action on Pitt. I'm just cheering on Pitt. Big
Good for
Pickett guy
you.
now.
Do they just do they ship you?
So what do you got? You
boxes
got
and
Pitt
get
to win the
them all
ACC,
there?
or you got Pickett to win the Heisman? What do you got?
No, I just bet on Pitt tomorrow -3.
Like
And
how
I,
can
actually, I do
how
have a
can you
little
bet
tickle
Clemson?
on Pickett to win the Heisman. So I
How
do
could
have
you possibly bet Clemson in that game, though? You're right. Like at some point, I think people keep waiting for Clemson to break out and like be something different. Like you just got to say this is what Clemson is in 2021. They're an offense that can't move the ball, and if they were going to show anything, you would have thought maybe the idle week would have changed things. But I'm with you. It's Pitt or pass.
Yeah, Pitter. I like that. Pitter pass. That has a nice ring to it. So, all right, Chris, we appreciate your time today. We'll let you get on to your getting ready for. I can't even think of is it Oregon?
Oregon,
What's the
UCLA.
game?
Yep.
Oregon UCLA
UCLA.
tomorrow.
Yep.
God,
Nice
Troy
early
could not
12
mention that enough last night in the game when players went to UCLA. I think he brought that up like three. He brought it up like 3 times. Like this player, of course, from UCLA. It's like Troy, you went to Oklahoma.
I was going to say he's an Oklahoma guy at heart.
He's a Sooner at heart, really. So, all right, we'll be looking for these. I'll see if I have anything more. I know Dan has some previews out here for some
We're
D-Gen
doing our meeting
college
outside.
football, real low-level stuff.
Beautiful.
I'll be talking later today, some FCS.
Those are the
and,
best.
yeah, good luck. Have fun out in California, and we'll catch you next Friday, Chris.
We will. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend.
See you, Chris. Thanks.
I don't really have much today.
Just yeah.
Maybe I should get off the. You know what I do? Baseball over. Just bet the over. Whatever. Like just don't fight.
It's
it
easy.
anymore.
He's just betting baseball.
Just bet the over. Take it. I don't care. I don't even know who's playing. I'm assuming it's the AL teams today. Doesn't matter. Either one. Oh, and Dan's in the chat here. His FCS D-Gen game got canceled because of COVID. Which also, real quick note on that. Do you remember how much that happened last year? Like, we're pretty. Obviously we're in a way different spot with the vaccines and just where things are now and what we know about it. But man, that sucked last year. I couldn't imagine how many games I bet that got canceled. It was pretty rough. So I'm happy that we haven't seen too much of it this year. Looking forward to games tomorrow. And tonight, you got some NBA action for me.
Just a couple. 1-1 last night. Had a kind of a tough beat on that Lakers spread there. They had a few opportunities to finish it, but overall, pretty solid. We'll just add that to the list of 1 basket or less losses for the year. I like to keep track of that for my own enjoyment. I don't know. Who knows? 2 picks tonight. Phoenix, we're going to take the money line here, -105 against the Lakers. As I mentioned, the Lakers somehow dealing with injuries earlier in the year. This is kind of odd to have a team at the beginning of the year like this, but guys like Kendrick Nunn, Wayne Ellington, yes, they're not the best players in the world, but they're expected to be there playing, 15, 20, 25 minutes a night. Ellington shooting being really valuable. Kendrick Nunn being kind of a spark plug guard off the bench is pretty big for that team. And they are at home tonight, but they face a Phoenix team that just matches up really well against them. It's always tough for anybody to guard LeBron James. With Bridges and Crowder do as nice of a job as anybody. Anthony Davis certainly has an edge over Ayton, most likely, given what Ayton struggles to do defensively. But Chris Paul and Devin Booker should do very, very well tonight. There is just really nobody on this Lakers roster to challenge them, especially, again, given the injuries and how we're bringing in some of these backup guards here. So I have Phoenix actually as a 3-point favorite in this game. So happy to take the money line, -105, -110. If you want to sell out for some points, I might find myself with a -2 plus something later, something like that. But Phoenix money line -105 looks good. The Utah Jazz are visiting the Sacramento Kings, our Sacramento Kings. And as much as it was fun to win on them in the first game, I have to go against them here in this spot. They're getting a little too much credit here for this win over Portland. I think that it's going to take a couple weeks, if not longer, for the market to react and got to knock Portland down to where I have them and I think where they should be. It's a team that I think is going to struggle, especially with a new coach at the beginning of the year. The Jazz, much like they did last year, should be able to beat up on some of the weaker teams in this Western Conference without too much trouble. I have this number at 8. I can get it out to as high as 9, 9.5 if I tweak some stuff. So 5.5 looks pretty good. Seeing some 6s pop up, that's fine as well. So a money line and a favorite for us, Andy, on a Friday night.
Ride the wave. Phoenix, I'm down with it. So -105, I get down with that, especially if you say it's -3. I trust your numbers, especially early in the season. And in rapid fire on the overtime of the halftime stream, which we finally got back off the schneid, got a winner with the second half over last night. I did some rapid fire stuff and with NBA, and I said the Suns were one of mine. I was running out of teams I could think of. I don't think I could sit and name all the NBA teams if you made me. But I said, I think my question to Drew was Suns. Will they experience any measure of success close to last season? Drew seemed pretty confident that this roster was pretty well put together and they were going to run again. So I'm with you on the Suns for sure. And let's call it a week.
Happy Friday, everybody. See you Monday.
Thumbs up.